My 21F, 7-year situationship, 21M, just left his fiancée for me? I, 21F, and Otis, 21M, have been in a situationship for about 7 years now. We have been friends since we were about 10 through school, and living only a few blocks away from each other. When we were about 14, we had started making out and getting into a lot of trouble at night with other local kids. By the time we were 15, he hadn't done it yet and I had, and he really wanted to know what it was like. I know Otis pretty well by this point and his extensive list of girlfriends. He fell hard and fast for just about any girl that breathed, and I knew taking his virginity would trigger something for him, so I made it expressively clear that there was no way that I would ever fall for him, and if we wanted to continue he couldn't fall for me. He laughed at me, telling me there was no way he'd fall for a girl like me. I'm a bit overweight and have a big nose and harsh eye bags, not the prettiest I'll admit, but Otis has always been a 10 out of 10 in looks at least. I sincerely doubted him just from how often he'd be the one to initiate our makeout sessions, but I went through with it and took his first time. I was right to doubt though, because not even 2 hours later after the fact a mutual friend called me up and told me that he was head over heels for me. I remember sighing and making a conscious effort to ignore it. The thing is, not much changed, we were still mean to each other in that teasing way and kept calling each other bro and dude. He was probably a little more handsier and blushed more, but he never brought it up, so we never stopped. We would go after each other at least 3 to 4 times a week for all of high school. During all 4 years, he would have several girlfriends, most of which I knew, but weren't really close with or absolutely hated, so I never really felt bad, and I would have a few other friends with benefits, but we always put each other first. And it wasn't just the physical stuff, we were still friends first, and neither of us had come from a good home life growing up. The only difference is that I was with a foster family who treated me better while he was still stuck in his situation. We talked a lot about life, would sneak out to comfort one another if something bad happened, and loved being partners in crime when we'd get up to hijinks around town. Anyways, I had started to believe that what my friend had said was an over-exaggeration and that the reason that we do it so frequently was due to the close proximity and convenience. Though during our senior year, as it became more apparent that I was actually leaving for college, he's either be super clingy or standoffish. I'll never forget how emotional he got when we hung out for the last time before I left. Over the course of my first college year, I ended up in my first real relationship with a guy I met in one of my classes. Real cute and nerdy, the type of guy we'd bully in high school. Really, we only lasted a year and broke up for mutual reasons, but at the time we were really trying to stay committed to one another. During the summer break, I went back to my foster family and Otis wanted to hang immediately. I had already told him about my boyfriend and how serious I was taking this relationship, and at the time he seemed to respect that, but it was a whole different story when we were in person again. It's fine at first, walking around our town and finding old abandoned places we used to hang out. But there was one house in particular we snuck off to the most when we were younger to do stuff, and before I knew it we were climbing through the old broken window. He starts talking about old times, started getting more touchy, and before I knew it we were making out. It was like he knew how to work every inch of my body, and he probably did, honestly. Eventually, I pulled away and reiterated that I had a boyfriend and that I was trying to be serious. That's when he exploded in anger and started yelling at me, saying things like, "Oh, so you have feelings now?" and other genuinely hurtful things, but I exploded back, and by the end of it we were both crying before parting ways. Cut to a year later, and we hadn't spoken the entire time. I'm back home for the summer working on a startup business when he messages me out of the blue wanting to hang out and how he's sorry for how he acted last year. I decided to give him another chance, and by now I was single again, and I had also lost a significant amount of weight over the year. We got to hanging out, and that's when he drops a bombshell on me. He has a fiancée, and they're living together. So from what the very same mutual friend informed me, he had met this girl a week after we had that fight, started dating her after 3 months, and proposed a few months later. I was shocked, though he then confessed that he was miserable in the relationship. Surprise, surprise, he then started to tell me how it was because she didn't really know him. Not like me. We ended up kissing, and he was way more passionate than normal. It led to us doing it in the back of his truck. We held hands the entire time and both ended up crying. I went back to school soon after, and my depression got worse, leading to me to get hospitalized. Up until that point, I hadn't spoken to him at all or thought about him much. When I was finally stabilized, he became a reoccurring thought, and it didn't take long for me to realize I was in love with him. Soon after leaving the hospital, I confessed to him, and I think I put him in shock. It was just after he had got done complaining about his fiancée again, and I just dropped it on him. He told me that it wasn't a bad thing, that I was in love with him, and left it at that. 2 weeks later, I end up leaving school for medical reasons. That's when he reaches out again. At this point, I'm a little pissy at him and didn't want to talk, but then he said he was on the way to my house, blowing up my phone. Turns out he had kicked his fiancée out of his house, and I'm pretty sure they're over. He picks me up, and the second I get in the seat, he grabs me by the shoulders and told me that he was in love with me too. I remember feeling butterflies for the first time in my life, and I kissed him immediately. It felt like it was right out of a movie, and I couldn't believe it. I was so happy. We spent the rest of the night acting mushy-gushy and loving towards each other. It's been 3 weeks though, and I haven't heard a word from him, which is tearing me apart now. I'm so confused. Should I reach out to him again? Or leave him be?
If you guys are enjoying this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, click on that notification bell and share this video with a friend. That way, not only do you not miss out on any of our content, but you also help us make more videos like this. Have a fantastic day and enjoy the rest of the video.
My ex divorced me and now wants to be together again after 4 years. Edit, there's an update post on my profile. Throwaway, since I don't want to be linked back to my main account. I'm 46F, and my ex-husband is 45. We were college sweethearts and married at 26. Right before we got married, I gave birth to a beautiful daughter who's now 21 years old. I loved both of them dearly, and we've been a happy family for about 16 years before everything went down. Our only problem was my ex's mother. She always had a strong dislike for me. She never thought I was good enough for her baby boy. We had many fights, and my ex cut contact with her after the wedding when she tried wearing white to it. We had many encounters with her years after that. Sending us gifts for my daughter and purposely trying to get us to contact her again to seeing her outside our house. For years ago, I got home from work to see my ex and his mom together on the couch. My ex was on the verge of tears, yelling and calling me a cheater. I tried to explain I didn't, but his mother supposedly had proof, saying she saw me with another man out in a restaurant together. I'm very faithful and loyal, but he refused to hear me out. We got into a big argument before he packed up and left to stay with his mother. When my daughter got home from a friend's house, she too started to blame me when she found out from her dad. She went to live with her dad while he sent out divorce papers. It took about a year before it was finalized. He got custody of her, and I was granted visitation rights, but she never wanted to see me. It took a long time to move on. I sought therapy and fell into a huge depression. I knew my ex's mother made it up to tear us apart. I can't believe he listened to her so carelessly. I don't blame my daughter, but it still hurts. I moved out of the house to allow my ex and my daughter to live there. I ended up moving to a small apartment. It's been 4 years, and I started to finally be happy again. I made new friends. We had so much fun and I got a promotion at work. I still missed my family. My daughter, but I couldn't do anything about it. 2 days ago, my daughter called me. It's been 4 years since I've last seen or heard from her. She said that my ex's mother admitted to lying. She said that my ex got a new girlfriend and his mother was furious, claiming he shouldn't have one after all the trouble she did to get rid of me. They got into a heated fight before he kicked his mom out. I nearly wanted to cry. I thought she would never admit it, and now I'm hearing my daughter. She asked to meet up and apologized so many times. I told her we could meet tomorrow. Yesterday, I met her at a restaurant, but she brought along my ex, something she never mentioned, nor have I agreed upon. He was apologizing, saying how much he missed me and that he dumped his girlfriend. He wanted us to be together again. I excused myself and left them there. I got back home to lots of phone calls from my daughter and text messages from her. She wanted us to talk, and she called me an asshole for leaving. I told her I wasn't comfortable and that she needed to understand. I had to mute my phone and put it down for a bit. I haven't responded yet, and I'm not sure what to do. I love her, but I can't talk to her with him there. Not yet anyways. It feels so fast. I wanted to do it one-on-one. I'm deeply hurt and crying as I'm typing this. I don't know what to do. Edit, I did not expect this post to start blowing up. I appreciate the love and support. However, I didn't make it clear about my daughter's custody. Her opinion mattered in court since she was 17 during the divorce. Although the divorce was about me allegedly cheating, my ex and I agreed to keep that apart from the actual divorcing process. Split what we needed to split and let our daughter choose who she wants to be with. She wanted to live with her dad, and I agreed. She was strongly adamant about not seeing me, so I allowed my ex to have full custody, leaving me with visitations. Not only that, I needed to find an apartment. I had to move out of the house. I was living off couch to couch in my relatives' homes. I didn't have space for her, and my ex mentioned it in court. It was the main reason why she was granted to stay with her father. I was under stress, and I was not mentally well. I signed off my rights. I looked like a mess in court, too. There was also a lot more going on during the time.